How's it going, YouTube? Malagant here. We're going to be finally talking about the last part of our Death Knight series. If you're not familiar, I recently completed Krieg Death Knight from scratch. Actually, this playlist is going to be down in the description below. If you didn't watch any of them, you can feel free to watch them, but not necessarily everyone has the time because it's like a really lengthy guide. It's from scratch to the end, where I'm going to be basically leaving it right now. Before everything, I would like to actually talk about what I want to aim with this video. I want this video to be some sort of like a starter to this entire series of Death Knight from scratch. At the same time, I would like it to be like a finisher too, like a closure. So if you've watched everything and watching this at the very end, it will still be useful. But I would also like it to be some sort of like a some sort of like a recap of the build, so that like somebody that is not necessarily interested in the playthrough at all could just come here and check out like the items, the build, and I'll also give some tips about like the leveling as well and what we have done so far and what I can, tell you to do in the future as well. The first thing that I want to talk about is basically I try to like mention this in my stream as well, maybe even several times. Why Death Knight? There's basically two reasons. Like lots of people are jumping into Grim Dawn and asking like which one would be like the best or like the better character to play as like a beginner. Most of the time the answer is coming like something like a Death Knight. Death Knight is a really strong, in my opinion, it's one of the better, if not the best, starting characters for an account, especially. And I would like to like give two reasons for this, or like split my answer in two. Simply because like one of them has something to do with like Grim Dawn mechanics, not necessarily just the Death Knight. How it works is that like the first point is I'm going to make is that the loot is like completely random in this game. You cannot necessarily target and say like I'm going to go for like a Blood Knight or like a Scandra set pieces and I need them, so I start a character, I go there, and then every single one of these set pieces are going to be completely random drop. Like 99% of the legendaries are actually like completely random drop almost in Grim Dawn, so therefore you cannot target them. Now that's a different story for the Krieg set pieces. You could actually target them. Another thing that I'm going to mention is that like, so as soon as you hit level 94, in fact, like you can go back to elite and they're farmable at elite too, which obviously your character will be a lot stronger than elite. So you'll be able to face roll and you'll be able to spam killing those monsters that are like able to drop these pieces. And in my experience, it takes about like 3 hours to complete it. Some people have been telling me that I have been lucky with all my farms. They have been taking a little longer, but something that I would heavily suggest is that ignore everything else, just rush for your targets and do it in elite. Don't do it in ultimate, you'll be losing a lot of time. I know that you might actually find some like legendaries or two while doing it in ultimate too, never mind them. Honestly, just farm the Krieg pieces, wear them on your character, and afterwards you can farm the ultimate if you would like to anyways, and your character will be only stronger. On top of everything, another thing that I wanted to mention about like why DK is that no matter who is like starting from fresh is something that I wanted to talk about. It is no matter who is playing, like no matter who is piloting the character, as long as you're starting from fresh in Grim Dawn, your character is going to be like the first character that you're going to create is going to be your weakest character unless you goof around with the next characters that you create. Simply because you're starting without any blueprints. You don't have any components in the bank. You don't have any gear waiting for you in the bank, especially no legendaries for like level 94 or like level 84 or whatever. When you hit those levels, you won't be getting that power boost unless you open a DK. So when you open a DK, again, you go for the Krieg pieces as soon as you hit about like level 92 or something. In fact, that is not even needed. If I'm not mistaken, the Krieg pieces are dropping as soon as the monsters are level 75 and above. So if you would like to, you can start farming it from there too, but you will obviously be having a little bit harder time simply because when you're level 90s or something, you might as well just face roll them and kill them a lot faster that way. So that said, at level 94 you will wear these, and your character, even though it is your first character and you don't necessarily have other good pieces, you will have a full set that is like backing you up. Yeah, this is why we we basically like suggest lots of people to like check out the DK. It's a really good starting character, and it's a really strong character. Is it the best character? Probably not. Definitely not actually. But it's a really solid starter character. On top of everything, it's pretty like simple to play. I played Battle Mage recently on my hardcore side. With the same set, with the Krieg set. Krieg set is capable of supporting Soldier, Arcanist, and Necromancer masteries. So in this case, Death Knight is Soldier plus Necromancer, which is a little bit easier to play. In my honest opinion, it's also a little bit tankier. At the same time, it might even have more DPS too. I'm saying might simply because I don't necessarily have the complete set. I didn't complete the entire build because I'm on softcore. I wanted to have a complete fresh start for this YouTube guide. Since it was, DK from scratch, I wanted to have, I didn't even want to have anything in the bank. I didn't want to have any blueprints in the blacksmith, so it was better for me to start it in softcore instead of like messing around with my saves. That said, I did play the Battle Mage. I completed the entire thing, like, has absolutely the best in slot items. It's extremely strong, definitely extremely strong, but I cannot necessarily compare them too because like the Death Knight is not up there for me at least. But if I have to guess, Death Knight will most likely have a little bit more DPS as well, simply because like you will be able to stay close. But what is Battle Mage having over the Death Knight is the fact that like Arcanist is much more active mastery. There's a lot more utility, right? You have like an immunity, which is a little bit better than, in my opinion, this thing over here, Mark of Torment, that is. So you have like the Mirror of Rectos, I think that's what it's called, from Arcanist. And then you have the Dispel. Dispel is incredibly strong in Grim Dawn. If you would like to watch out, actually, I have a video about like the Arcanist. If you'd like to watch it. It talks about like these spells of the Arcanist. And I think it's a cool one. I think it's a good one. But Arcanist is a little bit more gear dependent than this guy. Like this guy will kick in the second that you're level 94 with these pieces. Arcanist will require hands down more, definitely better gear. This is also why DK is shining a little bit better in my opinion. Yeah, I don't necessarily know like what else I would like to talk about when it comes to this. We can talk about a little bit of like how we leveled it up. If you don't know, I usually level up my characters the way that that is a little bit more efficient, effective. So in this case, even though we are playing with like, cadence splits, those are like our main abilities. That is not how we leveled up because cadence doesn't necessarily have so much AoE and you would like to have as much AoE as possible simply because like single target fights are, on the lower side and you have masses to kill all the time and you would like to kill them as fast as possible and then go to the next pack and continue. That's how the leveling process most of the time goes in ARPGs. And then you would also like to have somewhat okay single target too, but like that spell usually works on single target too. So therefore, like as a soldier, it is definitely better to level up with like the force flame, and that is what we did. Just grab like a two-hander, put a point into tremor so that like it removes his cooldown. And you could check out my like soldier leveling video as well. It's going to be highlighting and giving you a build how to do it as well. Or you could just check out like how I leveled up in the playlist over here that I'm gonna link in the description. That is possible too. On top of everything, it is also possible to like level up with Necromancer. And I actually recently, if I'm not mistaken, leveled up a Necromancer somewhere around here. You can find it. Level 1 to 18, 6 hours as Necromancer. Obviously, it won't be for a new account in 6 hours, nowhere near, because it is using some twink gear. On top of that, it is using experience boost potion, so it is a lot faster that way. It will definitely be slower, but Necromancer versus Soldier, which one is leveling faster? In my opinion, Necromancer definitely does level faster. There's one thing that is in question though. It is the fact that when you get to the end, with the Necromancer, you will actually have like pieces that are supporting summoning things. So your transition is going to be harder. But if you were to level up with Force Wave, your transition is going to be much easier because you will be already supporting somewhat the same DPS as you're going to be doing. Even if not, it is not going to be, boosting pets, it will be boosting you. So it will be somewhat easier changing or like transition, if you would like to say. Also like a little bit closer when it comes to like the mastery and the points that you spend all around the place, so it will be cheaper too, but like yeah, it is already extremely cheap anyways. There's one thing this I'll mention is that like in the description below you will have this build. Actually, if you would like to, you can get all my builds. The spreadsheet is in the link below as well. There's this link. This is like the old builds that I was playing like years back. I've not optimized them. I would like they're not necessarily that good at all, but I would like them to stay that way because it's funny to look at them, to be honest with you. And over here, I would say like the first one, the Spellbreaker, is not necessarily that great, but the rest of the builds, they're extremely solid, and I've done some like little explanations right next to them if you'd like to read them as well. So you can find the Craig's DK over here as well. If you would like to, you can compare it to Craig's Battle Mage that I played on the hardcore too. But the completed version, like with the best in slots of the Death Knight, is going to be in the description as well. And this is going to basically show you like what I would have done if I continued playing with every single slot out there, and that is what you should try to do as well. What I would suggest you to do is that since I didn't necessarily complete this, and I don't necessarily have the experience over it, I would suggest you to like check out maybe some other accomplished DK builds as well. For instance, there's over here, there's one Mr. Tech's Grim Tools over here. You can check this one out as well. Maybe compare like the two builds. You can find some from the forums as well, and you can compare it to mine maybe when it comes to like gearing, when it comes to like skill distribution, and you probably get the idea. One thing is that like I would suggest you to play with this, or without. Check out how you enjoy the Siphon Soul. Pretty much Siphon Soul is extremely strong, but don't forget to like give the Seer Souls, obviously that is really important. But the rest of the build is pretty much complete. What I would take away to like put points into Siphon Soul is pretty simple actually, probably these 3 points from there, and maybe even those 2 points there from there as well. So something like 8 out of 12 is going to be probably enough. And how you're going to use this is like just sort of like an AoE that's going to heal yourself. That's going to be easy. Reaping Strike is, you know, quite a lot of heals already, but if you think that you need more defenses, you can go for Siphon Strike. I don't think it's needed, but it's a good spell. Really good spell. Another thing that I can mention is that, like, remember to link Time Dilation into Krieg's Wrath. And thanks to that, you'll be able to cast the Krieg's Wrath twice. For some reason, I couldn't cast it there. Let's try this one more time. Maybe I need the targets. Yeah, there we go. Twice. Before that, like, you should consider the fact that, like, Time Dilation is not only affecting the Krieg's Wrath just because it is linked, it's affecting every single active cooldown at that point, especially the skills. Some of the devotions are capable of being affected by cooldown reduction as well. So maybe right before using your Krieg's Wrath, have some sort of like a combination of using the Overguard, using your trinkets, shouting, and then double, or maybe even like linking yourself to an enemy with like Mark of Torment, and then double immediately, double Krieg's Wrath. You know, try to like keep that in mind. That's what I was doing in my Battle Mage as well. My Battle Mage is actually like using the exact same devotion constellation setup that we are using over here. Another thing that I would like to mention about this is that, like, as you know, like from the middle part of the devotions, when you start going towards like the outer side, they're gaining more power and it's harder to get there. This particular spec is using like triple tier 3, so that is really strong. We have the Hourglass, we have the Spear, and we have the Dying God. It is ridiculously good. It is capable of taking all these tier 3s, and that is really unique for a character to be able to do that. They all are sharing the same build-up colors, so it was actually easy, but still, most of the time, even if you can pull something like this out, your character is going to be missing on something. This character is definitely not missing out on anything at all. It's so weird. And lots of... I've been getting like lots of questions. Why am I using like Hungering Void on lots of specs? To be honest with you, some sort of like a meta thing. Especially the first 4 points are ridiculously good in Dying God. I'll actually like to talk about like a little bit like off topic in this, but obviously Grim Dawn. There's 3 different types of things that you can do to scale a character's damage really good. And those things are basically, first things first, obviously, the damage type, you know? So in this case, we're Aether damage, so Aether multipliers that we're gaining is increasing our damage. It is additive on top of each other. So if our chest is giving 100%, if our gloves are giving 100%, then it is going to be 200%. And all these adds and then multiplies our damage. So around like 2k percentage, let's say. Let's actually like check out how much percentage we have right now before continuing with this. Aether multiplier is about like almost 2k. So about like 2k right now, you know, another 100% wouldn't necessarily give me so much, right? So that's like the first thing. The second damage increase is coming from, well, basically critting. In this game you can crit, and then afterwards, obviously on top of this, there's a crit damage also. So reliably critting, let's say, and having the maximum amount of crit damage. The third thing is the minus resistance. So the lower resistance your enemy has to that school of magic, or like, you know, physical, whatever, has, the more damage that they're going to take. So all these different things, those three things mainly, they're definitely deciding how much damage you're dealing. They're definitely increasing the DPS. And to be honest with you, never mind like this damage per second. Don't ever look at that. Don't ever look at like the damage on DPS on like the numbers all around the place. It's never reliable. So just like try to follow these rules. So we managed to like build up to time dilation. We managed to like build up the Spear of the Heavens. Those are already like things that are like really good backing me up, right? This thing is bugging out, so it's a bit cannot move so much. And then we have the Dying God. Even though it is like giving chaos damage, vitality damage, it's also giving like really heavy offensive, defensive ability, and chaos resistance. Up to the 4 points, it's incredibly good. The 5th point is completely dead. This doesn't do anything for us at all. But then the 6th point, this has a really good uptime. If you think about it, it has a 20-second uptime and then 30-second recharge. I don't necessarily know if this is like capable of being reduced by cooldown reduction. I didn't honestly check it out. I didn't pay so much attention, but it shouldn't be too hard to check it out either. I always put this into my blitz because like as I engage, Dying God is going to be proccing. There it is. So how many seconds was it? 20 seconds, right? So after the 20-second period, let's pay attention if it's going to be actually 30 seconds or like 10 seconds downtime, okay? I'm gonna use this one twice as well. So it's down now, I'm gonna charge one more time. That was not up. Charge one more time. That is up now. So basically, give or take maybe like 7-second downtime or something, right? Hungering Void, once again. Just to make sure that it was working, I'm checking the attack speed. Yeah, it was. So what does a Hungering Void do for us? It gives crit damage. Obviously we need to like max it out. It gives 40% crit damage. I want you to understand how big that value is. So look at my crit damage right now. It's 27% on this character alone with everything combined. And then on top of that, as I charge into battle, it becomes 67. Obviously right now it won't become 67. It actually became 71. That's crazy. I was saying obviously it was not going to be, simply because I'm not maxed out yet. We're only 8 out of 15 levels into this. So at the end this will be though. So 40% crit damage at the 15th level. Just from one node. And for 20 seconds this is up. Afterward maybe it's about like 7 seconds or something down. It is insane, and on top of everything, it also gives you attack speed. It also gives you movement speed if you're lacking a little bit. This character is lacking just tiny little bit of movement speed, but it doesn't necessarily matter. And most of the time, this is going to be up when you're fighting something, simply because you charge in always to the enemy, and for 20 seconds, hopefully you will be getting a kill in 20 seconds, right? So it is ridiculous value in this thing, even if you're like not vitality or chaos damage. Obviously it does degen a little bit, but this character can take that damage. It's fine. With our lifesteal, with our healing potion, with our immunities, we'll be able to overcome this. So here's what we are going to be doing. I think I'm pretty much done with the entire series, and to be honest with you, I've been getting like so many really good comments about this. I really am like, I want you to know that like they all made me really happy. the feedback that I have received for this series. It is ridiculously good. Thank you very much for that, and it really made me happy, and you know, I don't know what to say about it. And this is basically going to be, this was like sort of like a recap for it. Hopefully it's kind of useful. So how we're going to do this is like, if you have any questions about this build, about anything that is going on with you, with the character that you're playing, how you're enjoying it, maybe even just a comment, drop it down below. I'll do my best to like answer it at any time, even if you're watching this like a year from when I made this video, no problem. We can also talk about like if you're at the exact spot that I left this character right now, or that I'm leaving right now. So we're missing some key pieces, right? Like compared to this like best in slot version of this character right over here, we're missing about like 6 to 7 items even. What would I do to like farm? What do I farm? There's some sort of like a different rotation that I do. I usually do the Warden. I kill him in the Warden's lab. I kill Cronley over there. The left side of Twin Falls is a beehive. I kill the beehive. Since the account is fresh, we need some recipes, blueprints. I go to Prospectus Trail. I walk back. So inside the mountain deeps, there's treasure troves spawning. Treasure troves are really good for like relic blueprints. I open it. It's also really good for like finding the rare materials like Blood of Chthon, Tainted Brain Matter, you know, as I'm saying, those are like really good drops as well from that. So those 4 things, this is the easy run. Now on top of this, if you're strong enough, which this character is strong enough pretty much to like finish the entire game as long as you're willing to, I run like Steps of Torment, I run like Bastion of Chaos. Bastion of Chaos only if I'm missing Blood of Chthons. So you will get legendaries, you will also get like Blood of Chthons from there to farm. You know, like how every single skeleton key to like open these rogue dungeons, they cost you blood. The only difference between a Bastion of Chaos run and a Steps of Torment run is the fact that Steps of Torment is not gonna pay back this blood. This is also good to why we are running this like treasure trove there, and also inside the Steps of Torment, if you'd like to learn the spots, you should. There's another treasure trove spawn over there too, so that like you can sustain your skeleton keys from there. Ectoplasms are also another thing that drops from this place. What is the best place to legendary farm? It is the Ancient Grove. Ancient Grove also drops flowers, also drops like incredibly valuable components for the entire account. It's actually really good. One of the better places in this game to farm is 100% Ancient Grove, hands down. However, it can get tricky. With this character, I didn't try it. It can definitely get tricky, especially for the hardcore. Pay attention, do it a couple of times slow, and from there you will pick it up, because it's always the same thing that is coming your way. That is one thing that when it comes to like ARPGs, is, you know, the first time, the second time, the third time, you should pay a lot of attention, especially to like monsters that are like bosses and stuff like that. Just play it as scared as possible, as slow as possible. This is fine. After learning it, you will be able to, you know, because you know what is coming your way, you'll be able to, you know, play around it, and you will increase the speed that you play as well. Same suggestion would go for Ancient Grove as well. There's like the Deadly Manticore, there's the Trap Room, the last boss, the Gargoyle, can actually be tricky as well. Other than that, the Snake Monster can be tricky as well. It is avoidable though if you would like to. So that would be like the best spot to farm. Obviously, slowly but surely you should farm a little bit of like Nemesis, Reputation, Infamy as well. We are actually already Nemesis with the Vanguard, Ethereal Vanguard, which is spawning the Alexander. That being said, like this character should be able to kill Alexander if you just like dodge the meteor and afterwards you can charge in. What I mean by dodge the meteor is not necessarily just like attack the Alexander, stand next to him, and when the meteor is coming, move away. It's a little bit harder to pull off. It is possible. But what you could do is that you can say that he didn't cast the meteor for some time. Let's just run around like a headless chicken. Oh, the meteor is there. Let's just charge back. This is probably how you should be playing versus him. In that case, you will be able to take him down, no problems as well. Yo, I think I'm going to be cutting this here. If actually like I'm not necessarily happy with this video, I might either take it down or I might put like a part 2 of recap. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I'll be seeing you next time.